Welcome to Bible Reader Companion. Our Bible reading this week is 1 Corinthians chapters 15 and 16 and 2 Corinthians chapters 1 through 8. Our memory verse this week is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 16, in which Paul says in the New King James Version, "Therefore we do not lose heart, even though our outward man is perishing, yet our inward man is being renewed day by day." Paul always looked at this outward man versus inward man and focused on the inner man and the changing of that inner man. And we want to go back to chapter 3 of 2 Corinthians and look at some things Paul had to say there that I think tie in nicely with this statement. In chapter 3 and verse 12 of 2 Corinthians, reading from the New King James Version, we read, "Therefore, since we have such hope, we use great boldness of speech. Unlike Moses, who put a veil over his face so that the children of Israel could not look steadily at the end of what was passing away, but their minds were blinded. For until this day, the same veil remains unlifted in the reading of the Old Testament, because the veil is taken away in Christ. But even to this day, when Moses is read, a veil lies on their heart. Nevertheless, when one turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. But we all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord." It's interesting to me that if you look at the Israelites, they struggled with something. One of the things they struggled with was their relationship with God and believing that it had so much to do strictly with their biology, the fact that they were descendants of Abraham. And they failed so many times to understand that what God was after was not their DNA. God wasn't after just their obedience to the 10 Commandments of Moses or the law of Moses as a whole. God was after their heart. The things in the old law were designed to encourage and to teach the idea that your heart should be devoted to God. And yet so many times, over and over, they failed. In the Old Testament, they failed because they were caught up in idolatry from the very time that they left Egypt. Their hearts were blocked with idolatry, and they didn't have the right faith in God that they should have. But even in the New Testament, with the Pharisees and Sadducees, they were still blinded to the idea of the physical kingdom that God would bring to the Israelites, and not understanding that what God always wanted was their hearts. They were so caught up in the letter of the law and even making up their own parts of the law, but they couldn't see the truth of what God always wanted. And Paul says that when the Lord came along, when Christ came along, he lifted the veil. He gave the clear explanation of what it was that God was looking for. What God has always wanted is the transformation of the heart. He wants us to live in the image of him, in the image of Christ. I have always found 2 Corinthians 3 and verse 18 to be quite a vivid image. It's the image of us looking in a mirror and saying, what do I want to become? We understand this from a physical nature. There are people who will look in an image of their physical being and say, I need to lose weight. There are people who will look at their physical image in the mirror and say, I need to gain more hair. There are people who say, I need to comb my hair. There are people who say, I need to wash my hair. People who say, I need to put makeup on my face. There are various things, and we are conscious of our physical image and transforming it to be what we want it to be, the outward man. But here's the thing. The outward man isn't what God is looking at. God's not looking at our receding hairlines and our expanding waistlines and the extra wrinkles in our faces. God is looking at our hearts. And we should be too. We should be looking in the mirror, but in the spiritual mirror, examining whether or not our internal man is being transformed into the image of the glory of the Lord, so that we could say like Paul, therefore we do not lose heart. Even though our outward man is perishing, yet our inward man is being renewed day by day. Which image are we focusing on? Thank you for thinking on these things, and we hope you'll join us again tomorrow.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook for more content like this.